I want to talk to Mohammed, who's also calling in from California. Mohammed, you're live on Truth Wanted. What's up?
How you guys doing?
Doing good. Just chatting it up. What's up? How can we help?
That's good. So, like, I wanted to call you guys because obviously, like, I'm a layman and you guys are, very smart and educated, and I had this, like,
I'm glad we gave you that illusion. I can't speak for Matthew, but I'm glad I gave you that illusion.
Yeah. So like, obviously, like, because of my name, I'm a Muslim. Like, I was born a Muslim and stuff, and I'm not here to, like, try to, like, compel you to, like, Islam, because honestly, even myself, like, I'm not, like, Islam isn't really, like, compelling to me anymore. Like, it's just, there's, like, a lot of stuff in it that just don't make sense, like, there's a lot, but, like, basically, like you guys were saying, because, like, I watch you guys on YouTube and stuff, and, one of the things that you guys said that, like, really, like, it made sense to me, and I was like, wow, was that when you guys were saying, the best way to get to truth is, like, you have to pick, like, a method, and, like, we have to, like, see which one is the best. And then you guys say the scientific method is the best way to reach, like, actual truth about the world, because, like, other methods, like religious methods or whatever, they're already like assuming the truth, and, like, they don't really seek evidence like that. And it's like that, like, really enlightened me, because as, like, a kid growing up in a Muslim family, I don't want to, like, speak for other religions because I don't know how they're raised, but especially in a Muslim family, they're like very, very, very orthodox. And it's like, even like me, like, I live in America, but, like, even my family, like, they're still, like, super orthodox, and I don't know, like, I feel like Islam compared to other religions, it's like, it's like not ready to, like, see changes. You know what I mean? Like, they're the most, I feel, I feel like they're the most aggressive when it comes to changes. Like, they want to be, like, they want to keep the orthodoxy as much as possible. And so, like, the main thing that I'm trying to say is that, like, so, like, a year ago, right? I, like, recently, like, this past, like, couple of months and stuff, no, I would say I had this experience, like, around, like, a year and a half ago, but after that, I started, like, getting into, like, just watching YouTube videos, like, educating myself about, like, science and, like, all that, and, like, I realized, like, wow, this is, like, so logical, like, and it clearly, like, contradicts Islam, like what Islam says in, like, scriptures and stuff. But here's the thing that I want to get to that's, like, really, like, to me, it's like, I can't, this is, like, it's still confusing me until this day. And it, like, scares me, to be honest. So This is, like, I used to be, like, really religious. I used to, like, like, in high school and stuff, I used to, like, hang out with friends, go to parties and stuff. But then, like, around, like, my junior year-ish, I like, left that, and I became very religiously committed. Like, straight up, like, I didn't really, like, talk to any of my old friends anymore. I was just, like, go to the masjid, be with my family, and pray, because we pray 5 times a day and stuff.
Right.
And I'll never forget this experience that I had. It scared me, and, like, to this day, I still can't figure it out what it was. So, I became more and more religiously committed. I started to, like, love, like, the God that I worship, like Allah and Prophet Muhammad and stuff. Like, I started to, like, build up love for them, and there was a point in time where I still remember, like, till this day, it was like a January of 2020. It was one night where, and this is, like, when I was, like, I would say at my peak of, like, this religious commitment.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I'm going to sleep, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sleep, and like I like, you know, me, like I have like, you know, Allah and like my, you know, just like thinking about Allah, like having him in my heart and stuff. And then out of nowhere, like I swear, I'm not joking here. I feel this like intense pain in my chest, and it hurts so bad, like that I feel like my soul, it's like, I don't want to attribute it to a soul because I don't know, but like intuitively, it felt like I was going up. Like if I, like that feeling really scared me, and like I just like stopped, you know. But I feel like if I let that feeling just consume me more and more, I would have eventually died. You know, and here's the thing, like I was like, and I've been thinking about this for a while, you know, like what do I attribute this to? You know, like maybe it's just like my brain, maybe it's just an illusion, but like that feeling, it was so like painful. I would say to myself, like, how can this, you know, like when I reflect back on it, I say like, how can that be an illusion? Like it was just so painful, you know? And
You know,
like, I felt like, yeah.
You know, Mohammed, I don't think what you experienced was an illusion per se, in the sense that I think it can be explained by natural phenomenon. And this, what you're describing, is not as uncommon as you might think, because I go through similar things sometimes as well. It's a phenomenon called sleep paralysis, and it's crucial that you're talking about this experience as you're falling asleep, because obviously happens when people are falling asleep or when they're in the process of sleeping. And different things can happen to people under sleep paralysis. And again, I'm not a doctor, okay, so I'm not diagnosing you here, but I'm giving you a suggestion of, hey, as another person hearing about your experiences, and someone who myself I had a sleep paralysis episode a couple of weeks ago. It was awful. It happens to be like maybe once a year, maybe a little less, but like it's exactly what you're describing. It's scary. You feel like things are moving out of you sometimes, or that you aren't fully in control of yourself. But it happens to a lot of people, and it's a very common. People very commonly attribute that to religious experiences. And what's interesting, Mohammed, is that people, depending on the region where they're from or the religion that they grew up in, might attribute those experiences to their own particular religions. And I think what that can tell us is that, hey, maybe there's a common denominator here, in that this is a natural phenomenon that human beings experience across the board, and people are using their cultural explanations as opposed to one that maybe could be explained through, physicalism, right? So, I mean, that seems to be what I would suggest is a possibility of what's happening. Okay, again, not a doctor, but that would be my explanation for sure. Matthew, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, Mohammed. I used to have sleep paralysis, and I haven't had an episode in a long, long time. I attributed it to demon possession and feeling the sense of being held down, feeling the sense of falling backwards and not knowing where you're falling to. And we as human beings, when we have, and I'm not saying this is exactly what you have, like I'm not a doctor either. Social workers don't diagnose things. But it sounds like it might be something like that. And if it is really terrifying. But we do put meaning on it based on what we believe, what we affirm. And so that would be my thoughts on that. You did say some stuff earlier that really piqued my curiosity. And it had to do with like kind of, you were alluding to the fact like Islam was not resonating with you. Maybe it's not the right one. I mean, to me, I think the dichotomy of science versus religion is a false one. I think the two can totally coexist. And I think they ask different questions, just like philosophy and medicine ask different questions. I think the best of religion, if you're interpreting your faith tradition correctly, and I was talking about this on some other show recently, the best of your tradition is going to go outside of your tradition. It's going to include all traditions, and it's going to be like in the Mahayana Buddhist tradition, it's going to be to eliminate the suffering of others. And that to me is as simple as it can be, you know. So no matter what faith tradition you're from, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Sikh, whether you're Christian, Jew, I think if you're interpreting your faith tradition right, and this is kind of what all the great mystics in each tradition will talk about how humanity is all one, about how our job is to be compassionate, loving human beings. And if you're not that in your tradition, I think your tradition, whatever that might be, is doing it wrong. But I don't necessarily think it's wrong per se.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that point too, Matthew, because I wanted to talk about that as well. Because like when you said something along the lines of like the scientific method being the best method for understanding truth, and like I agree with that, but like with an asterisk, right? Because like truth can have multiple definitions as well. And so like if we're understanding physical reality, the best predictors for physical reality, then yes, the scientific method is bar none the best way to figure stuff out. Like but if we're talking about like metaphysics and stuff, like that's outside of like what science can really say. Now, from my perspective on that would be, well, if I don't have any tools to navigate that, then I can't really make claims on it either way. Matthew might have something different on that. He might have some other explanations, but it's still good that you are seeing that the religious tradition that you've been brought up in may have some biases that need examining. I think that's what's really important. And it's interesting that all three of us are here. We're basically like a beginning of a bad joke, because now we got an atheist, a former Christian practicing Buddhist, and a Muslim all walk into a bar and host a call-in show apparently. But it's good that you're seeing that changes need to happen, because I would agree with you across the board. I think all religious groups need changes happening. I don't think I think I could stand firm on that claim pretty hard. So I'm glad that you're recognizing that needs to happen, because I agree with you. It does need to happen. How that change happens will be an interesting question to answer. I'm not entirely sure how it will. Will it start with late night call-in shows? Maybe, or maybe it's just asking your questions for yourself and being honest with yourself and communicating with the friends and family around you and seeing how they feel and seeing if change happens from within your own communities. I think that's just as important, if not more so. So that's good. It's good that you're thinking about this stuff, Mohammed. What do you think?
Yeah, of course. I agree with everything you say. It's like I'm not like disagreeing at all. It's like that feeling though. It's like I honestly, like me, I'm not like that type to be like. I like to be fair, I like to be in the middle, not be like biased. Even though it's like hard, like everybody is biased, But like I was trying to be, I was really trying to think it through, because like the thing is, sleep paralysis. I've looked it up. It's like when you're like kind of like unconscious, right? Like you're falling asleep and stuff.
But it can give you the illusion that you're conscious. Like my sleep paralysis, I think that I'm awake is when it happens, but I'm actually asleep. That's a pretty common thing with sleep paralysis.
Yeah, like, maybe it could be that like I thought I was awake, but in reality I was asleep. But like to me, like that, for me, that doesn't seem like likely, because I was fully conscious. Like I wasn't, like this wasn't a thing. Like it was weird, because I think about it like, okay, this experience, it should be explained naturally, right? But it's like the thing that like, I'm still stuck on about this is that my intention, like the intention I had was like that I was already in this like religious, like way of life, like I was like praying 5 times a day, like I always used to think about like, Allah, and like it's just weird. Like it felt to me as if like this is,
if you have stuff on your mind, I can see how it would prime it, right? Like if I just watched a scary movie about witches, I might think that there's a witch in the closet. Like I can definitely see that. Like, and again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not. What I'm hearing is an anecdote from your experience, so I can only comment so far. But like I am not a religious man, and I've had sleep paralysis, and I don't have any special attributions to it. Would it make sense that someone who is religious, might who's been thinking about these concepts all day and been thinking about it in their daily life, might suddenly have an out of body kind of experience and may attribute something mystical to it? And from my perspective, yeah, that would make sense. That would be a natural explanation as to why you might feel the way that you do. But of course, this is hard because like we don't have a lab in front of us, and I can't sit you down on a bed. We can't like watch you in another room and take notes. One, that'd be weird, but two, like we just don't have that kind of budget. So like we can just only go off of these conversations. But like what you're saying to me, Mohammed, I've been doing this show for a while, and you're not the first person to tell me that they've had like spiritual experiences. But every time somebody's told me, it's under different contexts and different, attributions. So, I can only go with what I know, and that is that sleep paralysis is a thing that it's kind of universal amongst people. But one last quick follow up from Matthew, and then we're gonna have to go on to some mixed callers here. Yeah.
So, Mohammed, when you were talking about being fully conscious, there is this thing called lucid dreaming where, and I've tried to do it. I've wanted to do it because I think it's cool. You could fly and do all this kind of stuff. But I've never been able to do it. But there are people who talk about a practice where you can get into a lucid state where you are conscious and you are making decisions consciously in your dreams. And I don't have any anecdote of that. I'm taking it on faith that people are not lying to me.
Yeah.
But that there is the possibility of being fully conscious and feeling like you're awake, but actually being in a dream state.
Yep. Totally. Anything you want to add, Mohammed? We got to wrap it up on this call, unfortunately.
Yeah, sorry about that. So I just wanted to it's just like, it's so weird. Cause like, honestly, me, like, I like to be like logical, like I'm not.
Mohammed. Oh no. I think their call just dropped there. Well, Mohammed, I'm glad that you called in. If you're still listening to this or watching this later, great call introduction there. Got a lot about your background and stuff. And talked about a couple different things there, but yeah, like we talk a lot about sleep paralysis on this show. It seems to be a pretty common thing, but I don't know. That might be one of the. That's not true. Not the first Muslim caller we've had, but we don't have them on too many, so that's fun. Fun that we get to have that conversation as well. Any thoughts on that, Matthew?
No, I think it's fantastic. I think I'm actually intrigued by the fact that you have a lot of calls about sleep paralysis, but I can see why. Having had them myself, I can see why. Well, people would want to look for meaning behind it. We like to look for meaning for everything, and so I get it.
They don't call and say they've had sleep paralysis. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do, and they explain, this is, and then I attribute it to this. But like sometimes it's me saying it could be sleep paralysis, though.
Gotcha.
And that's a hard thing to be, because it's like I can't tell somebody what what they should feel about something, but I can provide enough evidence or provide enough, data to make a case to say, hey, maybe you should consider this other possibility. And that's about the extent that I can do, at least ethically, on this particular program.